Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pro Trader and Plus and Market Playback. My name is Lee Goldstein, Trading Director for 10-Minute Trades. Remember, please, that all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. So a couple of things that I would do on an event that you're just not 100% sure what your setup could be, but it has a very good move and you want to see if you could take advantage of it. So first thing you do is you disconnect your live feed. You don't even have to. Decide what instruments you want to test. Go to Tools, Historical Data, decide which instruments you want to download. Get market replay data. We know we want the NQ 1223, and the date is the 5th, October 5th. Download it. So we download the NQ. We're going to download gold, okay, GC 1223. And if you absolutely also want to test the MNQ, then you have to download it, right? It's different than the NQ. So you download the MNQ also. It takes literally that long to download the data. I would reset my account so everything is back to normal. Just everything is zero. So edit the account. Highlight your SIM account if it's not zero. Edit account, reset, yes. And now all my accounts are just reset to zero. It doesn't really matter, but I like to reset everything. So now we're going to put our chart on NQ 1223. All right. And also we could look at gold 1223. We downloaded gold also. So you could see gold had what appears to be quite, maybe not a tradable move, okay? Because look at gold. It really didn't start moving until a long time after the news was over. So I wouldn't bother with gold on this. I wouldn't bother. I would just stick to the NQ for now, all right? I mean, the ES, a bigger bracket, definitely would have been safer also, okay? So you could say to yourself, well, do I want to bother with the ES on this? If you do, then you got to go back to Tools, back to Historical Data, and download the ES also. Get Market Replay, October 5th, ES 1223. Download it if you want to test it. It doesn't take very long. Okay. Then you get rid of your clock. You don't want to get confused by the clock. We're going to use the replay clock, the playback clock. So turn off your live connection, disconnect, go back to connections and connect playback and click continue. So now we set the time and the date. Today is October 5th, so both these little boxes have to be October 5th. 10-5-23, 10-5-23. In this blank space, you right click, wait for the go to show up, takes a second, and then you put your time 10 seconds before the start of the event. So it's an 8:30 event. So we're going to put in 8:29 and 50 seconds so the software can get ready to trade the event. Make sure you're AM if it's AM. And then the time comes up. And now what we're going to do is we're going to load our strategy. And I saved it, remember? So you're going to go to strategy. We're going to trade it just like time is now back to 8:30. So we'll load our template. We called it, if I saved it. Now I don't remember for sure. Did I save it? Let's see. Unemployment, yeah, we did. Unemployment NQ 10-5-23. So what do we need to do? Our bracket was too small during the trade. Let's set it to 30 and leave everything else the same. Bracket of 30, targets of 10 and 25 with a stop of 25. It may be, it's a very big move. I like to be safe. It might be that 35 is better, but I think 30 is going to work. And then everything that we did is already saved in the template. So 829.59 on the trade time, the trigger, bracket of 30 instead of 22, targets of 10 and 25 with a stop of 25. Turn on your trade. Now, I have a bug with Ninja. It's going to set my time back to 12 a.m. I'm going to have to re-enter my time. That's what it did. So I just go to the blank space. If that happens to you, go to, and just put the time back in, 8:29:50. Okay, that's our time, 8:29:50. Okay, now I'm going to run the replay. You could double check that A and B, ask and bid, has a number next to it. That means your data downloaded. If it's zeros, it means your data is not there. And if for some reason your data is not there, you can right click, reload all historical data. Also, if the chart looks weird, maybe you have a big gap in your pricing, right click the chart and reload all historical data. Just answer yes, and it will make sure all the data loads. If it's still a zero, just re-download the data. Sometimes you try to download and it's not there. It happens. It's rare. So now you're waiting for the time of the trade. The brackets are going to show up. There's our bracket, and we should survive that move. And we did. Now, what's very interesting is there could have been a whipsaw that we didn't see with the naked eye that made that trade not work. Okay. Now that's what appears has happened, is that there was a whipsaw that we didn't see with the naked eye. So that also makes me think our stop could be too small. Now, if you let's trade it, let's run that again and let's watch it. We know we were filled on the right side, but what happened is price changed direction after we were filled. Watch again. Okay, what did I do wrong? I didn't turn on my trade. Back to the time, 8:29. Now, sometimes when you're playing back, 8:29:55 usually will get you going. You don't have to wait 10 seconds if you've already started. Our brackets are going to show up now. So we get filled on the right side, but what happens is it's a big enough move that our stop is too small. So watch. NQ, a 25 stop when you have a move that big is pretty small. So let's increase the stop. And we're going to go back. So we've got, let's double check the setup because I did it too fast. We've got our trigger time is the same. Our bracket is 30. Our stop is 40. Okay. Bracket 30, stop is 40. All right. Why did I increase the stop? Because after we were filled, there was a whip. It was hard to see it with the naked eye, but we know it happened because even though it appeared that price was moving in one direction, it didn't. It stopped us out. So that tells us price moved up and down enough to stop us out. So the way you deal with that in a setup is you have to increase your stop size. 8:29:55. Let's do 50 so the software has enough time to calculate. And let's see if my theory is correct. So we're using the clock on the control panel. And there you go. We survived. Okay. We survived that change in direction. Then you could do a couple of different things. Keep in mind that a playback does not always take into account slippage. So you want to make errors on the size, on the side of a little bit bigger stop and a little bit bigger bracket for your real life trade. And even more importantly, so let's say now you're thinking to yourself, I've got a really good setup. I've got a setup. Hey, it works. It works on this event that didn't work when we traded it initially with a smaller stop and a smaller target. Sorry, smaller stop and a smaller bracket. So we'll play it back one more time. So now the process is you have to go back and you want to test a variety of Thursday reports. So you download 3, 4, 5 Thursday reports. Okay. And that allows you to figure out if your trade is safe. But the real truth is 100% proof is taking a live trade. Sometimes markets move so fast, you can't tell what the slippage really would have been when you analyze it. And sometimes the reality is the only thing that tells you if a setup would work could be trading it live. That is something we know from all these years of trading. However, you can still come up with very good setups that you think are excellent. And many times they're going to be correct. But you see hints on how to set up the data. If you have a stop and you don't survive the stop, even though it appears that you should have, you configure that in most cases there was a reversal that you didn't see with the naked eye. And increasing the stop will allow you to survive that. Okay? So does everybody understand how important, why using playback is really important? And we actually did this last week also. And that I think that these reports on Thursday are clearly still and maybe becoming more volatile because the markets are so riled up right now. They really are riled up. So here's what we've got. You've got a bracket of 30, and you could look at it one more time, right? If you play that trade one more time, how safe did the bracket look? Can you tell, right? Because you could use a bracket of 32, you could use a bracket of 35. Sandra used 35 on the MNQ. You might give up a little bit of profit, but there was a lot more profit available than what we took. And that's, look how much room you had. There was plenty of room in our bracket. Our bracket was well placed. The other thing you saw is our targets. Definitely small, right? Based on the news, your first target you can increase to 15 and you could try for 40, keeping in mind slippage doesn't show up in playback and in sim. However, it gives you an idea. We've increased our targets. Are we out of control, greedy with our targets? Are we sensible with the targets? Now, we happen to know this report moved quite a bit, so our targets were clearly too small. But you had to wait. You had to wait. Watch. So we made our targets bigger. The first target should easily get hit. The VWAP and the low are not unreasonable targets, right? You can even increase it if you want to. Interestingly, it pulls back into negative territory. And that's something to keep an eye on. How do you want to deal with your stop? If you had moved your stop to safety, it would have taken you out of the trade. If you left your stop alone, you'd still be in the trade, able to get this bigger target, right? So now, boom. But playback is so important to help you to figure out what you might have done wrong on a trade, how to get a better setup, how to practice moving your stop. There's so many things that the playback lets you do that I can't stress over and over that to me it is the most important feature in any platform. Any platform that has playback gives you the ability to trade and make money. Okay? Find the right setups. So, what I would do, I really believe, and I was uncomfortable with our bracket to begin with. So, I'm definitely going to put in for a bigger bracket next week and a bigger stop, but I might still continue testing for another week or so to see if we're right. You don't have to jump into this live because we think we got it right this week. I think we did a similar thing last week, and that's how we went from an 18 bracket to 22 to 25, and I still think we were on the small side. Any questions? Any questions?